Good morning and welcome to Charversations. As you know, I am Charlene Robinson and I am a mental health therapist and a board certified pastoral counselor, as well as a LCAS, which is a licensed substance abuse counselor associate. And I'm here to talk about your mental health and how important it is to us as a people. I'm here also to help erase the stigma. It's something that was never talked about in our families. And there's no shame in asking for help. If you need it, you need to ask, because there are people out here and we're busy, but we have time for you. Good morning, Barbara. Good to see you. The shame happens is when you don't reach out for help. So I'm creating a safe forum here so we can discuss the various topics that I discussed. And if there's anything that you want me to discuss, throw it down in the comments. By the way, your mental health matters. Black mental health matters. I hope you brought your coffee. I pulled out a relic. This cup came from, it was a African festival in Pennsylvania, 2008. And I was like, let's change it up a little. I love my coffee and my cups. So I hope you brought your tea, your coffee, whatever it is that you use to get going in the morning. Have some. Of course, I don't own the rights to the music, and I'm working on getting my own little intro. But I kind of like this. This is real bouncy kind of music, something you want to move on. All right. Well, the song's only 2 minutes. We'll let it play while we drink our coffee. All right. Well, we're going to fade it out and get started. All right. So today we're talking about how do we handle burnout? Yes, burnout. And then what do we do with it? There's many of us out here struggling with burnout. I would dare to say almost 50% of people who are working from home are experiencing burnout. Between the children being homeschooled at home while they're working at home, it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on because you have the constant interruption and you're trying to focus, and either there's a dog coming in the room or there's a child coming in the room. It's a lot. And most of the people I talk to are just overwhelmed. The people that I'm counseling, they're overwhelmed. And even the people who are not getting any counseling, they're overwhelmed as well. I would say most say that they are frazzled. They feel hopeless. They're sleep deprived. Yes. They're exhausted. It's almost the kind of exhaustion that you can't get sleep from. You can't get rest from. They're worried. They have a sense of helplessness, like they can't control what's going on, and a lot of uncertainty. So what do people do with that? What does that look like? All right. So some are saying that half the nights I'm too exhausted and my brain just won't function. And that's what happens. We get a brain fog when we're burnt out. Okay. So with working from home stress, COVID stress, racism stress, political stress, whatever stresses you out, what happens to me time? What happens to that time when we take it down? It gets sacrificed because you're so busy and in the moment, and I got to get this done. I got to get that done. Oh, I got to call this person, and we're just running around. Burnout also makes people think that there is no light at the end of the tunnel, and that is so not true. It's just, we'll get into it, but that's not true. Burnout is not a new phenomenon. This is not something that just happened because of the pandemic. People have been dealing with this, but the thing is that at these levels, it's really concerning. Okay, so what do we do? How do you prevent burnout? Well, first, let's define what burnout is. I'm a person of definitions and research. All right, so burnout is a state of emotional, mental, and often physical exhaustion brought on by a prolonged and repeated stress. It's, you wake up to stress, you go to sleep stress, you're doing your work stress. It's just stress all over. Okay. And most often it's caused by problems at work. That's where it starts sometimes. But here's the thing. some of us are not going to a physical building for work. We're at home. So whatever home stress is already there, and then top it up with stress that you're working from home too, it's a lot of stress. It can also appear in other areas of life, parenting, caretaking, romantic relationships. Everything suffers when the one person who is supposed to be responsible for it all is tired and they're burnt out. All right. So, what are some of the causes of burnout? Well, cynicism, depression, and just being lethargic. Those are common characteristics of burnout. Sometimes when we are pressing toward a goal that doesn't seem, like it's going to resonate, or it doesn't, or you have no support system, it can lead to burnout. Also, even with pressing toward a goal or a calling, you must take a break. I don't know how many times I've said that before, but you've got to take a break. You've got to give your mind and your brain some time to just rest, not think about anything. And I know you've heard me talk about coloring. Coloring will take your mind off of everything. When you're doing a puzzle or like a Sudoku or something, or if you are just doing a crossword puzzle. Like I love to play Scrabble online. I don't know these people. I don't care. Some people I do know. And, I'll come up with a word and I'm like, oh, yeah. But guess what? I'm not thinking about the stress of work. I'm not thinking about any other stress. I'm just focusing on playing Scrabble. And we have to take that downtime. We'll talk about that a little bit later. All right. So if not, then the mountain of mental, physical health problems come with it. Like what? Okay, let me tell you. Headaches. A lot of time that comes from stress. Fatigue. When you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Fatigue. Okay? Heartburn. You get that heartburn, that pain in your chest. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Stomach problems. Ooh. People don't realize that whatever is going on with you mentally will affect you physically. And a lot of times it will attack the weakest area in your body. And one of our weakest areas is our stomach. Okay. And then you open yourself up to substance abuse, alcohol abuse, drugs, overeating, comfort food. Does any of this sound familiar to anyone? What happens normally, like normal days before the pandemic? On Fridays, if you had a stressful week, what did people do? They would come home and just have a little glass of wine, just to calm yourself, just to reward yourself for having going through that week. Here's the thing. Now you're working from home. You don't have any outlet. There's nowhere to go if you don't have one. And then the next thing you know, I'm going to have a glass of wine. That'll calm me. Then you have another one. And then you have another one. And then next thing you know, you're intoxicated. And then what do? We get behind the wheel. Why? Okay. You see where I'm going with this. All right. So how do you know if you have burnout? Because sometimes somebody has to tell you. You're talking to somebody, all of a sudden they say, you're burnt out. And you're like, huh? What? Me? No. Okay. So how do you know if you're burnt out? Physical and mental exhaustion. Okay, the kind of tired that sleep doesn't help. We talked about that a little bit earlier. You have a sense of dread about work and going to work, or if you're not going to work, just going into the office, your office at home that you've put together because you've been forced to. Frequent feelings of cynicism, anger, and irritability, and you just get mad for no apparent reason, snapping at folk. That's a good sign, because what happens? Somebody asks your opinion of something, and you're being a normally positive person. All of a sudden, all this negativity comes out of your mouth, and you're like, "Whoa, where did that come from?" Because you're burnt out. All right. Frequent feelings of cynicism. Okay, we said that. All right. Those in helping professions notice dwindling compassion. It's called compassion fatigue. In my field, that happens a lot. If I have more than, I would say, 3 counseling appointments and everybody's heavy, when I get done, before I even put notes in, I need to walk out of my office, outside, breathe some air, because it's like, Because what happens, especially with counselors, we take it on. With parents, we take it on. Teachers, they take it on, and we carry that because we're carrying it for the purpose of praying, but we're carrying it because it's a burden and we're concerned. And the thing is that we have to learn how to offload that. And if we don't, it's a problem. Ministers, the same issues. All right. So feeling like you can no longer do your job effectively. Now, if you're a person like me, I'm very organized. You try to get everything done. I have things color-coded, all kind of stuff. Keep a paper calendar. I know that there's a calendar on the phone, but I like paper. I want to see a whole week at a time. And it's real colorful because everything's color-coded. Okay, but when you get to that point where it's not working anymore, that means you're burnt out and you need a break. I'll think about that one. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. You too. It's good. All right. So there is a difference, believe it or not, between burnout and stress. All right. So burnout is an extended period of stress. It's a long time. It just accumulates and it builds up and it goes on. Okay. And it's never ending. And feelings of emptiness and apathy. You're just, yeah. Stress is short-lived and tied to a goal, like studying for an exam like I am. It's not harmful because it pushes you, It's like, okay, I got to get this done. How many hours did I spend studying today? Yesterday, I didn't spend any. Okay, that means I got to do double today. Well, today's Saturday, I got time. That's good stress because it's going towards a goal. Okay, so we talked about compassion fatigue before, but it's when a caregiver becomes just numb to the suffering of the person that they're taking care of. It's just, you just don't feel anything. You don't feel any caring. You don't feel any dislike. You're just numb. You're just going through the motions. Okay. And you're less able to display empathy. And if they're complaining to you, it's best just don't say anything, because if you say something, it's not going to come out right. That's when you know you're burnt out and you need a break. It happens to anyone who's exposed to human suffering. So just imagine what our healthcare profession is dealing with right now. It's been a whole year and they have not had much of a break. I mean, every time I would see on the news or on social media something of a healthcare professional, and they're sitting or they're standing and they're going like this, I feel their pain because they have got to be burnt out. They're seeing the same thing happen over and over and over. Can you imagine working in the COVID ICU? Could you imagine? And just seeing people die every day. I can't even imagine. My heart goes out to them. And I really pray for their strength, because I know once this COVID is over, it's going to be a mass exodus. So students, if you're in school for medical degree, please keep going. We're going to need you. All right. So, just pray for our hospital personnel, our EMTs, even the morticians are getting burnt out. Can you imagine that? All right. So what do we do? What do we do about this burnout? You keep telling us about, what do we do about it? Well, there is a solution. First of all, you have to have a sense of purpose, okay? Because purpose is what drives us. That's what keeps us going. That's what motivates us. So, should you quit your job because of burnout? No. Maybe not. It's not the only option, okay? Take some sick days. Those sick days that have been accumulating. Okay, yes, you're working from home, but you're still entitled to sick days. Take them and call them mental health days. I used to schedule those in my calendar when I was working for corporate America. I would put in there once a month, especially when I did social work. Once a month, I would schedule a mental health day. And not always Monday or Friday. I would do it in the middle of the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, just when I knew I needed it. Okay? All right. Do some self-care. We're going to talk about that too. Treat yourself. Allow yourself to have something that you like once a month. You can do that. Focus on things outside of work, outside of the home. If you like to garden, get out there and do it. If you like to just go for a walk, get out there and do it. Um, think about things outside of work and not television. There are other things you can do. And then you have to set some boundaries. You have to learn how to use the word no. And I've gotten to the point where I can say no and I don't give an excuse or an explanation. I just say no. you know, you get to a certain point in life when you realize you have too much on your plate and you realize, okay, some of this has to get off my plate. Like I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday and I said, you know what? There's some things that's going to have to be tabled until after I pass this exam because I've got to focus on studying, period. End of quotation. All right. So what do we do about burnout that has nothing to do with work? All right. So what are the symptoms? We talked about some of these. Frequent crying. When you're just crying and you don't seem to figure out what the reason is. Why am I crying? Just tears start rolling. It's like, whoa. Persistent fatigue. You go to bed tired, you wake up tired. That's not good. Feelings of helplessness, frustration, and then you're just angry for no reason. Somebody asks me, what's wrong with you? Nothing. Ooh, okay. All right. So, there's, of course, we talked about caregiver burnout. We talked about parents burnout. We talked relationship burnout. Same thing. If you're not thrilled seeing your partner, it's like, oh, okay. I mean, come on. Sometimes it's just the stress of everyday life. It's not even personal. But you blame them for everything. It's like, even though they didn't do anything, it's like, okay. If you start feeling cynical about your future, that's another sign. Are you fantasizing about leaving? Leaving work, leaving, whoever it is that you're taking care of. Just go, just get away. I know all of us are about ready for a vacation. I get that. But I'm talking about just going away and not coming back. One-way ticket, boom, see you later, bye. All signs that you may be burning out. All right, so how do we thrive? What do we do? All right, well, thrive is an acronym, so I'm going to break down each letter. But thrive is living again, renewing your strength. Hallelujah. Knowing that you have the strength to conquer, but you just don't feel like you have the physical strength to do it. Okay, I got something for you. All right, so thrive, the T stands for time alone. We know it as me time. Okay, me time, it can totally shift your whole thought process and how you're feeling. Me time could be taking a mile walk, just getting outside. Now the weather is breaking, and I think in 2 weeks, time springs forward and we have more daylight. Yay. I never looked forward to it so much this year. All right. So time alone helps you to reconnect to yourself, to your purpose, to the reason why you're living. Okay, so you have got to have time alone. H, help from others. Like I said in the beginning, there's no shame in asking for help. Sometimes it takes another person that's outside that has nothing to do with what you're doing for you to say, hey, this is what's on my plate. And for somebody else to say, you know what? You need to take that off your plate. This one can wait. Because an outside influence helps sometimes. They can give you an objective view of what you're trying to accomplish. And sometimes, especially Black women, we think we're super when we can do it all the time. No, you can't. Okay. R, recharge. Recharging looks different to everybody. But you have to find out what it is that boosts your energy and what depletes it. Sometimes people can deplete your energy. I'm with Jonathan McReynolds on that. It's like, deliver me from people. But sometimes you have to find out what energizes you, what really gets your engine going. And whatever it is, you got to do it. If it's getting a massage once a month, do it. Because I don't know about you, but it feels good to me. It helps. It relaxes those muscles that I can't relax when I'm walking or doing Zoom. But that's a whole nother thing. All right, recharge. And prioritize time for that. Please do. And then I is for ideal day. What does an ideal day look like? Have you forgotten? Hmm. So you have to picture what an ideal day looks like and then make it happen. Schedule it out. Okay, so I have appointments. Some I have in the morning, some I have in the afternoon. In the middle, I can take a break. Maybe I can do notes right after one session and right after the next session. And then I can take some time to study. Plan it out, schedule, prioritize. Okay, V is for values triangle. What is that? Well, once you have a clear understanding of what your values are, you can adjust your workload or the activities you spend time doing to better align with them. If there's something that you're doing that's not that valuable to you, besides work, let it go for now. I'm in the middle of reading 3 books and one I'm almost finished with. And it's like, I really don't have the time to do that right now because I have to read other things. So that's got to be tabled. But it's not like I'm going to forget what was going on in the books because I'm going to pick it right back up and keep it moving. All right. So E, expectation adjustment. That's a big one. We have to learn how to adjust all the things on our plate. Sometimes we need to move them around, prioritize them. Some things need to be off. All right. So look at your expectations for yourself and reduce them. Sometimes we expect that, okay, I'm going to get this done, I'm going to get that done, I'm going to get this done. Okay. There's only 24 hours a day, and 8 of those hours you're supposed to be asleep. Okay. So you're going to have to budget and match your expectations with the time of the day that you have to deal with it. Now, for me, I'm a morning person. I can get up early and be running. I'm good. My engine's good for till about maybe 4 or 5 o'clock. Then by that time, I'm like, okay, I need to take a break. But if you know that you're a morning person, do your hardest things in the morning. Okay. Now, if you have to do some things in the evening, just expect that. Okay, you're going to be a little tired. You might need a little coffee. Yes, to keep it going. But do what you need to do. Like I had planned to burn midnight oil. I got to get these notes in, blah, blah, blah. And it's like by 10 o'clock, I was like, no, 9 o'clock. I was like, I can't do anymore. You have to know your limit. Okay. It's been better to start from a place of low expectation and then exceed them than consistently feel like you're failing yourself. Because when your expectations are up here and you're not meeting up here, and you're only meeting here, that means that your expectations are too much. You're expecting too much of yourself and you're stressing yourself out. And what does that stress lead to? Burnout. Okay. So as you move through these feelings of burnout, you can adjust your expectations to feel reasonable for your mental state at the time. Because there are some days, I don't know about you, there's some days where I'm like going, Mondays are always a slow start. Okay. But by Tuesday, I'm good. I can keep it moving. And I'm trying to keep my Fridays open so whatever I didn't get done Monday through Thursday, I can get done on Friday. Okay? We have to learn how to adjust our expectations. So if you're feeling burnout, you are not alone. Okay? A whole bunch of people out here are, dealing with that. Women in particular, we have a difficult time prioritizing especially their own wellness or asking for help if they need it. I'm going to sip some coffee on that. All right. So we're going to leave that alone. All right. Let's talk about some self-care. Okay. Self-care means taking time to do things that you enjoy. And I mentioned that earlier. If it's meditation, just sitting and just, we don't know how to sit still anymore. We don't. Even though our parents tried, sit still, go sit down somewhere. It was like we sat down, but we didn't sit still. Okay. Now the problem is that we got children that are sitting around on their phone. They're sitting still for too long. They need to get some activity. But anyway, we're not talking about that. Self-care means doing things that you enjoy. So those things that you enjoy, some of them we can't do because they're closed down. Like I used to love going bowling. I would put names on those pins and knock those pins down. Woo! And we can't do that right now. Okay. So find something else you like to do. And the thing is, you have to have things that you like to do outside the house and those things that you can do inside the house. Okay? Self-care also means taking care of you, making you a priority. I know that sounds simple, but you still got to take care of you. Because if you don't take care of you, then how can you expect anybody else to? You are responsible for your own actions. Okay, and make self-care a priority. Okay, I don't know. I think all of my clients, I tell them the same thing. Self-care is important. It's vital. It's vital to your mental health and your physical health. Okay. All right, and we talked about boundaries. Set them. A few minutes of self-care is better than no self-care. Even if it's just washing your hands and then lotioning your hands and spending some time, because your hands do a lot. You need to take care of them, okay? It's just simple things. Like I talked about, if you need to schedule a massage once a month, then do it. Do it, because it will get rid of some stress. If you like to run, walk, do it, do it. Get out there and do it, And I know this will sound funny, but every night I lotion my feet. Why? Because I'm massaging my feet. Why? Because it feels good. It's self-care. Okay. Whatever it is that you need to take it down to breathe, because if you're experiencing chest pains because you're stressed out, that's a sign. And it's like, oh, I got to go to the doctor. Okay, yeah, go to the doctor. But also know that a lot of times that's stress and it's heading towards burnout. And you're going to have to sit back and breathe before you end up in the hospital. I know it's tight, but it's right. We have got to take better care of ourselves and better care of our physical self, better care of our mental self, and don't forget the spiritual side. That should be priority. Every morning needs to start with just, I don't care if it's 5 minutes. Pray, sit still, read, meditate, do whatever it is that you do in the morning. Whoever your higher power is, I know who mine is, the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, but whoever your higher power is, sit and meditate. Get some strength. You can't pour out of an empty cup. You have got to fill it. You got to fill this vessel, okay? You've got to be filled in this vessel so you can have the strength to do all that you need to do in a day. Okay. Thank you for joining Conversations. I'll see you next week. This will be downloaded into my YouTube channel. Take care of you. God bless you.